Yo, what's up guys, it's BJ who's back in another vid. As you can see, we got some different background footage. I got tired of getting copyright claimed, so here we are. If you're not caught up, the Dallas Mavericks absolutely embarrassed the Phoenix Suns in Game 7 of the semi-conference finals. On their home court. Luka had 27.5 and so did the entire Suns team. Chris Paul and Devin Booker didn't have a field goal in the first half, and it was just bad. But today's video isn't just me shitting on the Suns, which is something I enjoyed doing, but it's about the Western Conference Finals preview of the Golden State Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks. So if you're new here, I've done this before in my Celtics Heat Conference Finals preview, which you should go and check out, along with dropping a like, which helps a lot. It only takes 2 seconds. I want to break it down to 3 or 4 categories. The first is the starting 5 and star power of each team. Starting 5 is taken from the 5 that's starting each respective closeout game. For the Mavs, that's Game 7 versus the Suns, and for the Warriors, that's Game 6 versus the Grizzlies. Secondly, is the depth of each team, which is pretty self-explanatory. After that, I'll discuss general team strengths and final thoughts. Let's get into it. So to start off, we have the point guards of each team. For the Golden State Warriors, that is none other than one half of the Splash Bros and unanimous MVP Steph and Curry. For the Dallas Mavericks, it is rising superstar Luka Doncic. Luka and Curry are clearly the best players on their team. The way they play in this best of 7 series will single-handedly determine whether they win or lose. They are the offensive engine of their team, but who is better? Shooting goes to Curry. I don't think I need to defend that too much. I like that Luka's a streaky shooter, but when he's on, he's on. Finishing is Luka, but Curry is still an elite finisher from eye test and shooting percentages. Actually, I'm pretty sure Curry has a higher percentage, but I have to give it to Luka based on volume of finishing. Playmaking is Luka, but again, Curry isn't bad at it either. I say they're both great, while Luka is greater. Defense is intriguing. If you've watched the playoffs, you know that Luka got hunted against the Suns. It worked for a while. When John hunted Curry for a clutch shot in Game 1 of the semifinals, Curry locked him up and got a block on him. I know one example isn't everything, but I don't think Luka is as good a defender as Curry is. Curry gets shit for Kyrie cooking him 6 years ago, but he's actually a plus defender on that end, and I say Luka's neutral. Rebounding goes to Luka, but he's 4 inches taller, so that's something he should win. However, Curry's still a great guard rebounder. Clutch is a tie to me. I think Luka has a more clutch reputation, but Curry averages 27 points in the finals and has been a closer in the 4th quarters of this playoff run. Luka has also been a closer in the 4th quarter of this playoff run, so I can't really differentiate the two of them. Even though Curry is my favorite player, right now I think I have to give Luka the better player, not. Although it is close. This gives the Mavs a 1-0 advantage. Next is the 2 guard. For the Mavs, we have the breakout playoff star, Jalen Brunson. For the Warriors, we have the second half of the Splash Bros, Klay Thompson. While I mentioned that their backcourt duo is the make or break of the series, they are a close second. You could argue Draymond over Klay in terms of value, but no one's really stopping Luka anyway, so I'll take Klay's offense over Draymond's defense. Unlike their backcourt partner, they can have an off game, but their offense is vital to the outcome. Which player is better though? Shooting goes to Klay, while playmaking and ball handling go to Brunson. Klay hasn't been efficient by his terms, but he's still shooting 45% from the field and 40.8% from 3 in the playoffs. Brunson is a streaky shooter. He shoots 32% from 3 in the playoffs, but he isn't someone you leave clearly wide open. Brunson is really more of a point guard, so superior ball handling and playmaking ability shouldn't be too surprising. Klay was never good at that. Rebounding goes to Klay, but he's also like 6 inches taller, so it isn't too impressive. It also isn't a skill guards need to be effective in the game. Defense is tricky because neither is amazing at it. I'd pick Klay based off his instincts for reading passing lanes and picking someone's pocket. They are both decent help defenders, and Brunson's strength derails drives a decent amount of times. Clutch again goes to Klay, but Brunson has some big plays in the games in the first 2 rounds. At the end of the day, if I'm making a team and I can only pick one of them, I'm picking Klay. This is about as close as Luka versus Curry to me. While it's 1-1 right now, I think you could literally argue both of my picks being wrong. And I'd listen, honestly. The backcourt duo is going to be a movie, and I can't wait. Now on to small forward. For the second wing position, we have Andrew Wiggins of the Golden State Warriors and Reggie Bullock of the Dallas Mavericks. This is the first comparison that isn't very close. It's Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins is a superior shooter, finisher, defender, and rebounder. He is more clutch, a better ball handler, and a better playmaker. Although they are both atrocious at playmaking. Reggie is a 3-and-D role player, but his defense isn't really elite. I'm not too worried about Bullock being one of Curry or Peele's main defender. However, Bullock's 3-point threat is enough to make him quite valuable. If you watched Game 7 of the Celtics vs. Bucks, you saw that Giannis struggled. While he did miss some shots he usually makes, he didn't have much room to operate in. That is because he had subpar shooters surrounding him, so the Celtics could pack the paint. The Warriors can't do that to Luka since Bullock is in one of the 2 corners or on the wing, ready for catch and shoot 3. So at the value as mentioned earlier, he just isn't as good as Wiggins. Wiggins is above average starter at worst, and was voted to be an all-star starter. This gives the Warriors a 2-1 advantage in the starting 5. Now for the power forward position. For Dallas, we have Dorian Finney-Smith, and for the Warriors, we have podcaster of the year, Draymond Green. I mentioned earlier that Draymond could be argued the second most important player on the Warriors. Dorian has been great this playoffs, but honestly, picking Green is too hard of a choice. Dorian is a much better shooter, so much so that teams basically don't guard Draymond from 3, whereas Dorian can heat up and hit a ton, as shown in the Sun series. Ball handling and playmaking both go to Draymond. I think that's too debatable. Draymond can definitely have some mind-boggling turnovers, but with that comes some amazing passes. He can also lead the break confidently a lot of the times, whereas Dorian isn't ever asked to do that. Defensive again goes to Draymond. Dorian is definitely the Mavs' best defender and is great on that end, but Draymond is an all-time defender, highlighted by his game-sealing block against Jaren Johnson Jr. in Game 6. Clutch goes to Draymond due to the play I just mentioned. Neither are really going to have the ball in a game-winning situation though, so it's not too important for their versus battle. Rebounding, I will give it to Green. He is much more tenacious and has a better ability to retrieve the ball from the rim. Finishing is also Draymond. In this class, his fake dribble handoff to dunk has happened a lot. On the other hand, Dorian doesn't do too much damage in the paint, similarly to Reggie Bullock. Dorian still brings a lot of value to the Mavs' heliocentric offense. With him in one of the corners or wing, defenders think twice about giving help to Luka. That being said, Draymond wins, and now 3-1 in the Warriors' favor. Now for the starting 5 man of each team. For the Golden State Warriors, we have Kevon Looney, and for the Dallas Mavericks, we have Dwight Powell. Shooting goes to neither. Neither of them shoot the ball like ever, so who really wins? I don't really know. Rebounding, I would say Looney. Hakeem Olajuwon, 22 boards, 11 off his rebounds against the Grizzlies. Although the Mavs are a great defensive rebounding team, so I don't know if he's going to do that again this series, but we'll see. Finishing goes to Powell. So the thing about this is that Powell is a lob threat, where Looney's not really. Although Looney can have some nice footwork and some tough finishes under contact, I think that Powell's a better overall because he can dunk the ball. He's a threat in the pick and roll to finish, where Looney just gets the ball, late shot clock or wide open, he puts it in. Clutch, I give it to Looney purely because Powell is not clutch. If you remember in the Utah Jazz series in Game 4, he missed 2 game-winning free throws, and then Gobert got a lob to finish the game off. Then playmaking goes to neither of them, because neither of them ever playmake the ball, never dribble. They just, it's actually, you know what? I'll give it to Looney because he, in the Warriors system, he passes the ball a lot and he gets a lot of assists. Or not a lot, more than Powell does though. But yeah, I'm going to say Looney's the better player here, so the Warriors now have a 4-1 advantage. Now that I've finished going over the starting 5 of each team, I want to talk about the depth of each team. So to get started, I'm going to tell you who I think has better depth, and I would say that's the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks basically have 7 starters. Cleveland and Dinwiddie could definitely start, they just don't. And Powell and Maxey do change very frequently. As I mentioned earlier, it's the starting 5 of the closeout game, and Powell did start in the last game. The Warriors basically have 6 starters who pull off the bench, and Poole's playing like an all-star in the playoffs, at least in the first round. The second round, not as much. In some of the games he did, some games he didn't. They also have Otto Porter Jr. and Kuminga. Even though Kuminga didn't play too much to finish the Grizzlies series, I think this is more of his series because they don't have as much of a rim protector, whereas Jaren Jackson Jr. was a rim protector. The Mavericks also have Frank Ntilikina and Davis Bertans, who can heat up offensively for Davis, and Frank can really lock up somebody. Holding Booker and Chris Paul to, I believe, 3 of 40 in the series, which is an insane stat, 3 of 40. So yeah, I give the depth to the Mavs, but Poole, he kind of evens out this season much better than any of the players on their bench. As for general team strengths, they're actually pretty similar, which may sound kind of odd off the top of me saying it. If you really think about it, they both run small ball lineups. The Mavs basically run 4 guards, because Finney Smith is really like a shooting guard. They'll run a lineup of Brunson, Bullock, Luka, Finney Smith, and Maxi Kleber. That's their small ball, where the Warriors do Curry, Clay, Poole, Wiggins, and Draymond. They both want to get up and down the court. Both of them are great defensive teams, despite the personnel not actually looking like it. And they're both great 3-point shooting teams. They kind of live and die by the 3. If they're both on, it's going to be an interesting series, but there are going to be some games where one team's on and one team's off. That's going to create the parity within the series. I think they're pretty evenly matched up in terms of strengths and weaknesses. Neither of them are like amazing finishing. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Both great 3-point shooting and deep. They're both like 3-and-D teams with the superstar lead the way. Alright, so with all that being said, here's my final prediction. While the Mavs have been amazing and are the NBA darlings right now, I don't see them beating the Warriors. I think the series goes 6 or 7 games with the Warriors coming on top. I've seen people say Warriors in 5. Luka's at least getting 2 games, and I'm a Warriors fan. He's at least getting 2. Honestly, they could win, but if I'm a betting man, Warriors in 6 is what I'd say. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, share with your friends. Appreciate you boys watching, or girls, and see you in the next vid.